welcome to the GrowNomics Business Podcast. Are you ready to stop worrying about money, start your life of your dreams? Then you're in the right place. My name is Koen, co-founder of GrowNomics. I'm from the Netherlands. You probably can hear that. And today we're going to inspire you with some Dutch high achievers on how to become financially free and be a thriving entrepreneur. So we're not going to waste your time. That is our goal. Today, my partner in crime, Henk Diebrich, will introduce you to Bas Filippini, a highly successful entrepreneur who has created unique businesses that will inspire you to achieve your own goals. But first, I will introduce you to my business partner, Henk Diebrich, and he's going to be the host of today. He's an OG serial entrepreneur for many years, born in Amsterdam, went from working endless hours, struggling for money and jobs he did not like, into a position to having time and money. And that's the place of freedom. He's a book author, public speaker, investor, personal growth coach, marketing expert, and many more. He lived in Monaco, worked, spoke for great audiences worldwide, is well known by the famous top 100 and celebrities. They all regard him as a friend. And today he's here with you together with Bas to share some valuable knowledge and experience. So take it away, Henk. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Koen. Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is, in my book, good health and time to enjoy money. Because you have four types of people in the world. You have people who got a lot of time and no money. They're unemployed. We're going to see a lot of more of those people in the future because of robots and IA. Then you have a group who has a lot of money but no time. They work. And then they get, because they work so hard, they get a burnout of a heart attack, and then somebody else is enjoying the money. And then the third group, I was many years part of this group. I had no time and no money. I had a job. A job stands for just over broke. And this is 99% of all the people. 1% have time and money. Why they have time and money? Because they have very rich parents who gave them money, or a company, or they have a talent. They can sing very well, or they drive the Ferrari very well, or play football very well. But how you can achieve that position if you not have time and money? You need to find a vehicle. You need to find something what gives you passive income, a residual income. Is very, very important. So it's a great pleasure to introduce the guest of today, Bas Filippini. Bas has studied business management with jobs in the IT and customer support industry, founded many companies, and has over 20 years experience in training and coaching. Bas also made the journey into freedom. Bas, welcome in the show.
Thank you.
Bas, can you tell a little bit more about yourself, maybe a little bit about your childhood, how you grew up?
Yeah, I grew up in a quite normal family, I think. It was not normal in amount of people. I have 7 brothers and sisters, so we were with 8 children and 2 parents, and both parents were doctors. So it was always a struggle on money. My mother went from supermarket to supermarket where the cheapest products were, and it was a quite steady environment in so far that my father always said to me and to us, make everything out of your talents and you can achieve whatever you want if you really want to. And that was always in my mind. You can achieve everything what you really want to achieve. But then, I went on to study. I went in a depression. I went in a lot of things. I didn't have money. I was failing, in my opinion, also towards my environment. And yes, I was working in a casino as a croupier for a couple of years in the middle of the night. So I was disconnected in my feeling from other people. And my money went to an old car, which was broke every time, or where the government took it away when it was wrongly parked. So I was always struggling with money, but also with my future, because nobody learned to me what is really happiness to the future. And today, by accident, I saw what is success, what is your success, is to really live according to your inner feelings, your inner voice. And that's exactly what I did to get out of the shit.
Okay, so it's very important what your parents tell to you when you are young, because that is programming your belief system. You told what your father said. In my case, my father told me, coming from a poor family myself, he said in Amsterdam dialect, when you're born for 25 cents, you never become a kilden. And I decided when I was 12 years old to become rich, to have freedom in my life, not to listen to what my father said. So it was very, very important what your father said to create the future, what you created later for yourself. Can you say something more about that? How important that is, what you say to your children?
Yeah, because what I saw is my parents were not entrepreneurs. So they looked a little bit down on business people. They looked down on money. But in the end, the money was more important than they thought. And because I saw it every day, my mother was really doing as much as possible with the money to raise the family, to let everybody study, etc., etc. So in our family, the brother of my father was a businessman, a big one in Australia. And it was always a kind of dédain to that businessman, because he was a little bit crazy. He had an own opinion. He was too free. And that was always a kind of magic in our family. The businessman who was a little bit a magical figure, which was a little bit lower as standard, because it was not an intellectual. So we were raised to become intellectuals. We were raised to go for our talents, but it was not in the business field. So for me, as the first one in the family to step out that pattern and go into the business area, and after a year, I drove a cabriolet, the first one in the family, and I gave my father a Jaguar, because he was very ill. He was always talking about the Jaguar of our constructor from the hospital. And I decided with my brother to give him the Jaguar keys. He looked out and went in the Jaguar, and he rode his last 2 years with that Jaguar. And it was our first money we earned, but we decided to give it to my father's dream.
Fantastic. Your story sounds a little bit like Robert Kiyosaki. You probably know Robert Kiyosaki, the author of The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He has a dad who was poor, who had all the titles. He was a very famous a teacher on the university, professor, had all the titles, and never had money. And then he had a friend, and his dad has no titles, but was the richest guy in town, and teaches him how to get this freedom. It sounds a little bit the same like you. Is this uncle from you in Australia, was he maybe the same kind of rich dad figure as this was the guy for Robert Kiyosaki was?
I don't know that story of Robert Kiyosaki, but my uncle, the brother of my father, he was a kind of very curious guy. He was collecting Rolexes when nobody collected Rolexes. He was collecting gold. He was having pots of gold and silver under his house. He had a zoo, his personal zoo. He had the 2 zoos in Australia. And he was always, but in a kind of way, he was a quite kind of market guy. You know, he took birds in his jackets in the plane, special birds for his zoo, flew to Australia, and he had illegal the birds in his zoo. So that was a kind of guy who always was on the edge with the government. And in the end, the government taxed him very big and he had nothing anymore. So that was also in our family. Yeah, if this is the example of a businessman, that's not the way to do it. And that was for me the decision when I started my businesses, to always look over my shoulder back and have a peaceful and restful feeling. So that was for me the decision to pay the taxes, to do everything very precise, have a good accountant, to never get in that story of failed businessman. Because I had another uncle, which was very big in the textile, and then the Asian guys came, and he had nothing anymore, but he had a very rich life. I remember that I went in his Renault Alpine, which was then a very nice sports car. And we sat there, and Ome Jan put the gas on, and he was having fun. He had a couple of wives besides his own wife, and horses and everything. He was a big guy. And then he went also to nothing. So our lesson in our family was, okay, business is a little bit, downgraded. And always it goes wrong. When you start it, you in the end have nothing because you take too much risks. And that's the lesson I learned with my brother when we started. I started alone, and my brother went on a year later, and we said to each other, okay, let's have fun right now. So never go into the future fun. If we can do it right now, okay, we have fun right now. We were a kind of party company. In the end, people in our company said, Bas and Andre, stop with all those parties. Because we want also have time to work. But we were, never waste time for a kind of future success or a kind of future life. So it's better to have the life right now, earn the money, be cautious. Business man, in my opinion, okay, you can go for $1 billion, but I'm happy with millions. And then I better take not so much risk and have a very nice life. Enough is enough. And it's always, I always have in my mind, enough is enough. But when it's possible, I'm open for more, because I never want to have constraints in my life anymore. So in my opinion, I did 20 years neuro-linguistic programming. It's very important what you say to yourself and what is the belief of who you are, because the belief of who you are is what you are and what you are doing and what you are thinking. So that's my road to success. That was my road to success. We take risks, but not too much.
Well, that's a very important point, because you said what you say to yourself, but that starts first what your parents telling you, what you believe, what you are, right? That is how it starts.
For me,
what you start to believe, what you are. And then you start to develop your own beliefs on what you are and what you can achieve. But let's go back a little bit more in the time. So we are in the situation that you're with your parents, you have these uncles, they are free, they are successful, but then they more or less not successful. So you first decided to follow the advice of your parents, and you went to university, you took a job, and you were not happy in those jobs. You start to say in the beginning you were in the casino, you had other jobs. So how did that feel for you? What changed your mind of then going the way of your uncle and not follow the way of what your parents told you?
Strange thing was, when I was in high school, I organized parties. I was one of the first who organized multi-high school parties, big parties. I hired a whole discotheque. I arranged foods and everything. So it was always with a lot of food, drinks, and music. And it was in the begin time of the house parties. So, and I earned a lot of money with that. Already when I was on the, here, what you call the gymnasium. And I was busy with that. And the people in the city knew me. The Horeca people knew me. In my study, I did a kind of market. There's a big walking tour in Holland. It's called the Vierdaagse, the 4 days of walking. 30,000 people. And I was thinking, hey, what can I do? I can go for the whole summer taking a plant out of the earth or collecting fruits or whatever? Or is there some clever way to earn money? So what I did, I went to that Vierdaagse. I went to the route. I had one big coffee can with me. And in 30 minutes, the coffee can was empty. And I had €2 per coffee in my pocket. And it was just water with some coffee. So then I thought, wow, this is a business with 2,000% margin. So then the next hours, I took more coffee to the Vierdaagse. The next days, I took coffee, drinks, fruits, and everything to the Vierdaagse. And then it was the beginning of every year with 3 locations on the Vierdaagse for selling stuff. And I earned more money than I could ever make in a whole 2 months' work. And I did it in 3 days together with my brother. Okay, it was hard work. And we had to go up at 3 o'clock in the night, to put the coffee and to be at 6 o'clock for the first walkers. But I learned so much of this experience. We had to do marketing. We had to do inventory management. We had to do quality management with the product. We had to do pricing. We had to do good communication skills. So I knew what was possible. But I thought, okay, I also want to go to university to learn how it is to be an intellectual, because otherwise you will always have that not touched area, which I see with a lot of people who never go to a university or to school, which they can be very successful, but they always have some trigger. Yeah, they always look up a little bit to the people who have the right education. So I thought, okay, let's go first for the education, and then I'm going into business. And what I learned in Amsterdam at that time, it was horrible. It was sitting inside, studying in books. And I thought, if I do this much longer, I will de-learn real life instead of learn real life. Then I went to the Erasmus University in Rotterdam and followed a very practical course. It's an end course there. And it's called Commercial Management. And we had immediately what is it? We had immediately some company opdrachten. What is it, Henk?
Assignments.
Yeah, we had immediately some assignments with companies. So we had to stand before the management and say, okay, guys, what is your problem? Okay, they said, it's okay. In 2 months, we need a solution. Here's the money. Go do market research. Do what you want, but we want to have the solution. So I went into another business, which I never thought about, which was concrete. You have the Stelcom plates, which are big concrete plates for the building, for a lot of purposes. And we went to all the production facilities, which were sometimes very strange facilities at a river with some strange people. It's not a very high-end business, concrete business, but they earned a lot of money because the Jaguars were always in front of the production facility. But we took photos. In no time, we had a whole production capacity of Holland and Belgium, because they asked us also for Belgium, because they were very happy with the results of Holland. We checked that with the CBS, the Central Data Agency here in Holland, and it was all suited. It klopte. What do you say, Henk? I'm not so good in English.
It was fitting.
It fitted. Yeah, it was all fitting. So all the figures were fitting. So from the street to the CBS, all the figures were fitting, and we could make for the company. We had the whole competitive analysis with all the competitors, with the photos, with the production capacity. We photographed also the inventories, so we knew exactly, because we knew how much time it costs to make a concrete pallet. So we knew exactly what production facilities were. and they could use it for their business. So that was another very practical thing which I learned. And then I went working for PTT. That was at that time the government telecommunications company. Yeah, and there we had a lot of fun because we were so far from the customer. But it was kind of a kind of playground. I got budgets. I was product manager for mobile phones. I was product manager for services. I was product manager for, and later marketing manager for call centers. And it was really fun. We could do whatever we wanted. And every market we touched was 35% growth. But it was very far away from the consumer. And after 7 years, I decided as a manager to say, okay, I always wanted to start for myself. And it was really difficult. And I really had to change my mind, not to go into fear, overwin the fear, go to my manager and say, hey, guy, I really like to work here, but this is the end. I want to start for myself. My manager looked to me and he said, can you stay 6 months longer? You can do whatever you want, but I cannot have it that right now in my position, another person from the management is going. So I had 6-7 months paid to prepare for my own business. And I started with a training company. And I know exactly, after all the difficulties to take that decision, which was my inner voice, it was really my inner voice, I stepped out of that building, the big building, which was power, money, and everything. I was standing alone outside. And then a very strange feeling came over me. And it came a feeling of total rest, peace, acceptance, and a feeling of everything is possible. Because I had nothing anymore. I didn't want to go to the government to get payments. I wanted to do it all myself. Because I felt, Bas, you can only start from nothing one time. So I wanted to start from nothing. Not as a venture capitalist with money from others and starting a company, which is not really starting a company. I had to start it really from the ground zero. And that feeling, I never will forget, that I felt like a kind of kaleidoscope of colors. All the colors were available for me in the white light. I saw that vision and I thought, wow, I don't care. I can go anywhere now. I thought I had nothing anymore. I went outside and I felt I have everything. Everything is there. So it felt like a whole world of possibilities. And that gave me a lot of trust and a feeling like it's a web, which is, after you may take a very difficult decision, which your inner voice tells you, there will be a web which is helping you.
So you mentioned a lot of very interesting things. You first said it's very important what you believe, what you tell yourself. That's very important. Secondly, is that you got your own experience, like what you did to make the coffee with the avondvierdaagse. And then very, very powerful is that you're not fearful that you're going out of your comfort zone. Well, there is the development, right? And I think also in school system, you're not teach to make mistakes. You know, you're punished when you make mistakes. We are getting something on in the screen, Koen. I shall take it away. So yeah, okay. I took it away. So let me repeat this because there was something here. So you said something very important. You said it is very important what you say to yourself, what you believe. You say to get the experience, like you did in the avondvierdaagse with the coffee. So you got the experience in the marketing and everything. And then maybe the most important is not to be fearful. Go out of your comfort zone because there is where the grow is. And is it not that on schools you teach exactly the opposite because they teach you not to make mistakes? So where did you discover, because you did university, so it's exactly there where you teach you not to make mistake, and university mostly are preparing you for a job, not going out of this comfort zone. So where did you saw that this is not your way? How did you change that in your mind and so no, I have to do it in a different way than I was
No,
teach?
because, for example, my mother always said, had ik maar. It's a special Dutch expression. If I had done this, or if I had done that. That's a little bit in our family. And I thought, for me, no, had ik maar. For me, if I feel that I think, had I do this or had I do that, I'm doing it right now. And that's my philosophy. And by doing it, your mind and your conviction is changing. So it's really by doing. And yeah, that's how I started this. Once in 1991, I wake up with a very strange dream. I had a dream where I was in a box, a very big box. I was in a kind of box, and there was a staircase, and I was going on the staircase, up in the box. And in the end, I put open in the top of the box, which was very high. I went outside. I was out of the box. I put them back closed, but I could also open it to look in the box. And I thought, I'm out of the box. I'm in a box. I did everything what everybody did, school, university. What is from me? I did nothing for me, which is typing me as a person, as an individual, as a spirit. So I was waking up and I thought, something is not okay here. Something is missing here. And this world is made. It's, the industrial revolution. You had machines. You couldn't make mistakes. So the whole school system is based on the industrial revolution. You cannot make mistakes. Look to children. They see where they made the mistakes and not where they make the 9s or the 10s. So, in my opinion, that was for me a big eye-opener. And I saw also how people wasting money in the casino. So I had some experiences, and I was also depressed in a time because I didn't have a connection with the other students. I felt alone. I felt different. And I had to fight myself out of that situation. I said, okay, and I'm building myself up stone from stone after that depression. I went to France for a course of France. I went to total new people. And after that experience, I felt, okay, hey, I'm okay. Because these people don't know me and I could make a new start. So sometimes it's also important to change your environment. And then you can change your mind. Sometimes you change your mind, you create a new environment. But sometimes you go to a new environment and you create a new conviction in your mind.
That's a very good point, because my next question to you was, what was your environment telling you? Because your environment don't like that. If you change something, then you will probably, I assume, a lot of people who tell you that you cannot make it or you are stupid or that kind of wording.
Exactly.
Did that happen to you also, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, the strange thing is, Henk, if you really follow your inner voice, you don't give a shit about the whole environment. But in my family, the people say, oh, the crazy boss, the crazy guy, don't do it. My mother was cautious. What are you doing when nothing is okay? And I took a loan on my last paycheck to buy a house. And I thought, okay, whatever happens, I put a Japanese or some guy expat in, and I will survive. But on my last paycheck from the official telecoms company, I bought my first apartment. In the same time when I started the company. So I took double risk, but it felt okay. And I felt, okay, it's good. So a lot of people...
It is very important not to listen what other people tell you, but follow your own heart. That is very important. Yeah. That's what you did, right?
I listen always to people when it's honest advice, when it's honest experience, when it's honest advice which I ask for. Unasked advice is normally someone who's putting their own constraints on you. So that's for me also a very important one. And I listened to my inner voice. And after a year, I went to the car dealer. And it was not about showing off. It was about telling myself that I made the good decision. And I went into the car dealership. There was the cabriolet with a kind of curtain on it, you know. And the guy from the... and I went in to get the car, which was for me very special because it felt like I was out of the family what is it? The family
car brands?
No, the family constraints. So, you know, my family, everybody was saying, the strange boss and he's going to fail and blah, blah, blah. And that moment I went into the car dealership, the curtain, he took the sales guy, took the curtain off, and there was the cabriolet, fantastic, and ready to move outside. And there was a guy with his son, and the small son said, "Oh, Papa, look, Dad, what a beautiful car." And then the father said, "Yeah, that's for that mister." I said, "That mister, that's me." You know, I am that mister, which I was the guy, you know, who was always looking to guys getting a cabriolet out of the curtains and saying, "Yeah, that's someone else. It's impossible to reach that goal." And from that moment, I felt really, that was for me. I never forget that. That is for that mister. I went into the cabriolet. I drove out of the garage, and I made a beautiful trip outside with everything open to Utrecht and back. 60 kilometers on the highway, full gas. And I felt so accomplished that, you know, it was not about the material things. It was, okay, Bas, because you made a decision, following your heart, outside of all comfort zones. Within a year, you have a business which is doing more than 1 million. You are driving a cabriolet outside the garage. And that was my dream. And I decided for myself to never stop driving cabriolet anymore. So whatever cars I have always a cabriolet. And it's not about showing off. It's about my feeling of freedom and my feeling of accomplishment, you know, to myself. It's present to myself.
Yeah, Bas, I say always to people, to change your life, you have to change. So how did you change? What did you change in yourself? You said already a few things. You were not listening to other people. You were not following your family advice. You was going out of your comfort zone. You didn't listen to what other people said. Is there something else how you changed?
Yeah, in the beginning I changed because I followed my inner voice and the things which I really felt I needed to do, which were fully out of my comfort zone and that of my family. You know, you're always also going to think different, and strange things come on your path. So what we call accidents or serendipity or toeval in Dutch is coming on your path. Synchronicity, yeah. And that synchronicity is very special, and you feel you are going more and more into your intuition zone. So you feel if a deal is going yes or no. You feel that some people will be important for you in your future. So it's like that, you know. You get a more broader view of experience, of mindset. For example, my brother came in the company because I got a call when I was starting in the training company, and I was quite successful, and I really liked to do the business with my brother, but he had a very good job in South America. So I had to do it alone. But because I was forced to do it alone, it was the best lesson for my personal development ever. There was no escape. It was not, okay, we are going to do it together. No, I had to do it really alone. And then I got a call from Israel, from a woman, which I knew from the telecoms company. And she said, hey, Bas, I have a nice product for you, a software product, which is too small for KPN because it's not going to the 3 million zone in the first 2 years. Then it's too small for KPN. Maybe it's something for you. And then I had a phone call with the owner, and he said, okay, let's have a meeting when I'm in London. So I went to London. I bought a ticket, but everything was a lot of expenses for me. So I had a ticket on the same day. And then I was in London at 8 o'clock in the morning. I saw people cleaning the streets and everything. I was far too early because we had a meeting at 1 o'clock for lunch. But I was walking in London, the shops were closed. In the end, I went to the hotel and I was waiting. And no Doron Aspitz, which was the guy. And I saw all those people coming in a big hall. In that it was a nice hotel, beautiful hotel. And I didn't have money, so I had to buy and sit on one coffee, waiting for the guy. And he didn't came. He didn't come. And I had a flight back at 7, so I had to be around 5:30 in the airport, Heathrow, and I had also still 1 hour train, public transport. So in the end, I had to leave at around 4:30, and then he came at 4 o'clock. I came in the hotel. He was looking around, and I thought maybe that's him. So I spoke to him. I said, "Hey, are you Ron?" "Yes, I'm Ron." "Hey, nice. Yeah, the plane was delayed, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Yeah, I have a problem because I'm so busy. I have to go back tonight." He said, "You have to go back tonight. Come on." But I didn't have the money to change the ticket. And then he was looking to me in a very strange way. And he said, "Okay, how much time do we have then?" I said, 30 minutes. He said, "Okay, then we take this 30 minutes. We had a very nice conversation. In 20 minutes, we were done. We had a deal to do his software in Europe." And then he said, "No, we have 10 minutes more for have a beer." So we drank for 10 minutes a beer. So that was such a special occasion and such a special coincidence. And that company went worldwide market leader in this software. And I did a deal with him in 20 minutes. So that's how life goes. If you choose your own path, then these kind of coincidences are happening all the time, and you have to see them and you have to get into them. I have a lot of these kind of examples, a lot.
But it sounds to me almost like a spiritual experience, and a lot of people. I don't want to go into spirituality now, but a lot of people think when you are an entrepreneur or in business, you are screwing other people, and you make a lot of money because you're screwing somebody else. But you are now saying that's not the case at all. Maybe you can say something about that more, because that's what a lot of people think.
Everything is free choice. I could do business deals where other people could have less, but I decided for myself, when I'm on my dying bed, or how you call it in UK, when I'm dying, I want to look back in a very nice way. That's not that I have more because other people have less. I am very principial. I'm very, my principles in that case to be clean and to do only honest business. It's me the most important thing, because I know when I don't do it, I get it back. It's like a boomerang. I had in my past, sometimes I have stolen something, and then immediately I get a fine from the police for a driving car, or my car was tossed away, So I know that the law of cause and effect is really here. It's a universal law, and you can play with it in a negative way, but it's not for me. That's not my life.
So you introduce now another point, not only what you believe and you say to yourself, but also your own norms and values. Your own integrity is also very important to become successful.
Yeah, Yeah, and what I see, we always were in the business where we wanted to play first class, but we always accepted there are 10 companies who are playing first class. And that makes the competition nice. Yeah. You know, that's my big irritants right now on the field of international companies where the billionaires are monopolists and eating out everybody else. It's not fair. That's not the business I like to be in. It has to be a play, you know, and it's always good to have good competitors because it keeps you fresh and awake.
I have a second saying, what I always use: to have a better life, you have to become better. In what way you became a better person?
That's a very good question, because what I did, I started a training company, and then the trainers told me, hey, Bas, should you not go to one of those trainings? Because you are selling us, you are selling all those trainings programs, but you were never yourself on a training course. I said, but I'm successful and everything is going all right, and why should I follow a training? Okay, I will do it to learn how to sell you better, how to sell training and coaching cycles better in the companies. And then I went to my first training, which was neuro-linguistic programming practitioners. And I didn't show myself, but because all those people were foreigners to me, they said, hey, Bas, we don't, and they didn't know what I did or who I was. So they were very honest in their feedback. And they said, hey, guy, we don't see you. You are not going far enough in the exercise. You are playing with the exercise. You are not really letting them in. And then I remember that my first exercise where I had a kind of breakthrough was, I thought, okay, let's take a very simple subject, a time for myself and work. It was to have two opposites and then let them play together, talk together and say, okay, why is the work part so dominant towards the personal side? And then I went hotter and hotter. I went out of my mind, and there was a kind of catharsis. And then I felt, hey, guy, there's really some work to do for you to really get that balance in your life, work and personal free time, because I was totally focused on work. So I felt very good and where is that coming from? Why is this so out of balance? And then you went into your family, into your in all those things your parents told you. So in the process of becoming successful, I totally forgot myself. And that's a big lesson. And I did it with my brother. And what you see then also, it's not easy to have a family company, because all the old irritations, all the old convictions about each other pop up in the process. We had quite big fights, and until that, I always go to the edge. And when you go to the edge, the solution is there. You can follow that mountain, but you can also climb higher. But you have always to look for that edge. And we went to the edge where I was with my brother, and we want to separate the company because he was irritating on me because I went earlier to home and he was working late and he had a different work attitude and pattern because I did all those trainings. And it was a kind of under the skin fight. And then I made a list. I said, hey, on the left, my qualities. On the right, the qualities of my brother, the partner in your company or whatever, for the listeners. And it was like a zipper. It was unbelievable. I said, unbelievable. If you take those qualities from the right and the left, it's a total balance. And I showed it to my brother and I said, hey, guy, let's look in a different way to our quarrel and let's see what the qualities are of each other. Because I have these qualities, you have these qualities, together we can make this a big success. And in the end, we went to a company of 25 million a year from 4 million at that moment. Just by being open to each other, and also to see qualities and not going into emotions and old patterns from where you come from the environment, from your family, from brothers, and that was also very important. So in my life, I see a lot of these kind of critical situations where you have to make an honest decision, because it's on the edge. He could also have said, okay, I want to quit anyway. So you take the risk of letting everything go again. It's, in my experience, always a very important lesson. And then there comes a force inside you which says, okay, but you can do better than that. We are better than that. It's like a voice talking to me.
Koen, ik denk we hebben genoeg materiaal. Dat is fantastic information. So if you like this, please subscribe. You will be informed for the next show. And please click the link below, because below you find free information about a business, about a vehicle to get your first residual passive income. It's called Solopreneurs. That can be your first step to your freedom. Don't forget, Bas also started as a solopreneur, and I myself also started a solopreneur. He was a solopreneur doing the coffee business. I was doing a solopreneur selling alarm systems when I was with the police. But that's another story. Thank you very much. See you next time. Take care.
All right. Okay. Business Podcast. Highly successful entrepreneur Bas Filippini with his unique business that will inspire you to take the whole world in possibilities. Enjoy your life, make fun, and don't forget to party and look for the edge. Next time we will share more valuable content and experience to stop you from worrying about money and start your life of your dreams. So see you soon. Bye bye.